Welcome to Moss Marketing Mondays, aka the M3 Podcast. Brought to you by Moss Marketing Group, bringing you everything marketing every Monday. Stay tuned for marketing tips and tricks you can use today. The M3 Podcast, marketing knowledge to help you succeed. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the M3 Podcast. This week we got Reiki on from the MMG squad. We have Aaron and Abby from A2 Fitness. A2 Fit. Just Fit? Fitness? Fitness. Mm-hmm. We'll go with the whole thing. Yeah. Everyone calls it A2 Fit for short.
I feel like everyone just calls it A2.
Yeah. Or A2.
Yeah. For even shorter.
Yeah, for A2. We make it as simple as possible.
People want to know if it's A2 CrossFit. I'm like, whatever you want to call it.
Whatever you want. As long as you remember the A2 part, you got it dialed in.
Mm-hmm.
But we have crossed paths here recently, and I'm very glad that we did. And you guys have a gym here in Liberty, and you're absolutely killing it. So I think the first question that people have all the time is where A2 came from.
I know. I was going to say that in the intro when we said people just call it A2. They always ask if it's for Aaron and Abby. It's not. We both had it. Well,
I don't. It's not. I would not say, "Oh, Aaron and Abby, let's call it A2." That's so
well. He came up with that and sent it to me, and I was at first I was like, hard no, because it's. I would think everyone would think it was for Aaron and Abby. Never even thought about it, but it is for All Sizes Fitness was mine, and he was Aaron Fit.
I mean, my first gym was Aaron Fit, so let's. I think a lot about the name of gyms. You know?
Yeah,
clearly. It's like. So
really
it just was. I said
right?
Aaron Fit, All Sizes Fitness, A2 Fitness. I mean, yes, she's Abby obviously, and I'm Aaron. So whatever. People think that's not really what I was thinking when I said it, but also my first gym was Aaron Fit. So
and it stuck, and now people like
good.
it.
I like it.
It's easy to say.
It's very easy. It's not meathead gym or whatever. It's not aggressive or anything. It's just very simple and our logo is kind of a combination of both All Sizes Fitness and Aaron Fit. So
I think you guys have done a really good job at when you merged a lot of different clientele, I feel like, into one. That was what I was most surprised about when we stepped foot into your guys' location the first time, that it turned me into a client after watching one workout. That the perception I had in my mind that I built up, then I started watching and I was like, okay, I need to do this. But there's so many different walks of life that I think it's pretty cool that you guys have merged all that together. So when you guys had your own thing, what was that clientele that each one of you guys had, and how have you guys merged that to make A2?
I mean,
when I started out at my garage, and all of my garage members are still current members. I've just always been interested in the health and wellness space. My degree was in exercise science, and we took several classes of different how to teach and how to come up with different programming. And we had an awesome professor. And so a lot of my type of training still comes from him, and I did that back in the garage. And I just wanted, really it was for my family. It was who started with me, and they're obviously, my dad is 67, my mom is 60.
They've made me look bad, or your mom has made me look bad in the gym my first time showing up.
She makes most people look bad, honestly.
Everyone just tries to keep
very impressed.
Very bad. But if you would have seen them when they started with me in the garage, you would have not thought so. They've both lost a ton of weight and kept it off, and they're very strong, but I wanted the gym to be for everyone. And so that's kind of why we have all walks of life in the clientele, and they really stick with it. And then when I moved into my space, it was those people reaching out to other people. It was mostly word of mouth. We've never paid for marketing until this year. And so that's why we just have that clientele that really clicks together. It's people that genuinely enjoy the gym, reaching out to others like them, saying, hey, this is a cool spot. You'd like it.
Yeah. And I opened my own space. I trained south. I lived north. I trained south for probably the first half of my training career. People were always asking when I was going to come north and when I was going to do something up north or train at a gym up north. It just wasn't there wasn't the right fit. And then I opened up my own space, and a lot of those people were I'm a lot older than everybody in this room. So I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people that were Northwest alum. I know a lot of people in the firefighting community, in the training community, the fitness community. And so when I came north, there were a lot of people that were just anxious to get started in something different up north. And I was just pretty much a one-on-one or partner trainer. Abby she was mostly classes. We talked about it a little bit. I offered a class every day, more for the affordability of training on people that wanted to do it. A lot of teachers and nurses, and I know a lot of those people. I taught in Liberty for a couple of years, so I know what the demographic is up north for people, and I wanted to offer something for it. So it was just one class a day. I just held one class a day. The rest of it was one-on-one training. I always tell people the one good thing about COVID was it slowed me a little bit down. It brought some new trainers that were fired from other gyms or let go because of the pandemic. They came to my gym. It was a small space, but I said, if it works for you, great. And it did, and we had a fast friendship. And then also Abby, the same, she came to my gym during that time, and I got to know her, and she brought a lot of her clients, and our clientele is very similar, and it was just a really good.
And I feel like they are similar
mix.
just because our training style is similar,
exactly.
Our vibe in general is similar. Like, we care about our clients. It's as simple as that, and they feel that. So if they know we care about them, they care about each other. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
And I think when you touch on the marketing side about not doing marketing up to this point, I see it really quickly when we meet with new clients and we meet with new companies. There's certain companies that marketing is not hard for. That you put out there what you guys have and it wins. That it just has to be explained to the world correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I see that really quickly, where you guys have built a lot more than just a workout, where most of the time it's very surface level. It's, we're working out, we're doing this.
Right.
It's a community of people that, like, the first time I came in, I was like, yeah, Dane's here. And, like, everyone's like, oh, hey. And, like, everyone in there knows everyone except for me. I'm like, I'm the new guy.
Like, you give me the new person.
There's a community of people that it builds a level of accountability also there, that now I'm getting up in the morning at 4:30. When I'm getting up, I'm like, I got to go. I'm like, if I don't show up. 2 days I didn't feel good and I didn't come in. I come in on Saturday, they're like, yeah, we were wondering where you were at the last 2 days.
Like, did you drop off?
Right. So I do think it'd be important to explain kind of like what are the classes like? What type of gym is it? Because it's not like just a gym you have a membership to that you go to do your own thing, right?
Right.
So when I started, I really only did classes, like Aaron mentioned. That's kind of my first love, is teaching larger groups of fitness, outside, inside, anything. I just like the group aspect. I've been an athlete my whole life, so I just like working out in that sense, like people around you, pushing each other. And so he did a lot of one-on-one training. And like he said, the one class, when we merged, we took a lot of each other's style. And so we do only offer classes. We do one-on-one training in the interim, but the membership is 4 classes, but we train it a lot like a one-on-one session, or how we would want to structure our week of exercise for ourselves. So they're larger groups, but the way we set it up, you still feel like you get a lot of personal attention. You're not on a machine for a long period of time. You're really doing a lift and you're like, okay, I see why I'm doing this.
Right. We have 3 or 4, 5 classes a day now, and then 1 on the weekends. I think it's, like she said, it's a little bit of what everybody likes. There is some more higher intensity workouts, and then we also have some lifting workouts where we use weights. And I think we're a little bit different. We're going to squat in class, and we're going to deadlift in class, and we're going to
do everything that we want to do.
All the lifts that we like in our, exactly.
And
in our
everything
program.
new that we're learning. We're not closed off, which I think a lot of old school style trainers who are doing one-on-one sessions, it's just like they've been doing it this way forever. They don't really like to or care to learn anything new. Well, when there's 8 of us in there that come from all different backgrounds of fitness, and we're all interested in learning the new statistics and the new studies, and we want to try it, so we do, and our clients are really open to that, and it works. So they trust us, to give them that programming.
I think something that I saw that was really cool that I haven't seen at other gyms is I don't think I've seen a lot of group fitness classes that are ran as like athlete style workouts. That I very much like when I started, I was like, I came home after like 2 days and Madison's like, how are you enjoying it? I'm like, I feel like I'm going to like football training again in the morning. I was like, and once again, you're around a bunch of people. It's like, it's athlete style training.
And I think part of that is like you have to be in a private training studio like you guys have to be able to do that.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you're not going into a box gym and like could you imagine as an individual trainer having like what is it 20, 30 people?
Yeah.
No,
Trying to like okay, don't get on that. We're using that. We're using that. We're using
Right.
that. We're using that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard enough to train. I never really trained at a big box gym, but I saw trainers enough to know like how frustrating it would be because you really can't control the membership and what they're doing. And to be fair about your point too, you came at a really difficult week.
It was like training.
I was like,
camp for
oh
you.
man, I don't know if these. I
I've
don't know if
been
we're gonna get it.
100% convinced. I keep being told that we may have to have a follow up podcast here in 12 months because I'm still going to be like, you know what, 24 was just a hard year. Like you just came at a hard year that you had.
365 days, really tough workouts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
that was
now
a tough
we're-
run.
Yeah.
I will say we like our style of classes so much. We do what we want to do, so we do the classes. That's
Yeah.
our only. People ask us all the time, well, what do you guys do for your workout? This every day we jump in a class, so like working out alongside next to Dane because this is the style of
Yeah, it
workout
makes
that
me
I
feel
want to
bad.
do.
No.
I'm sitting there, I'm like really struggling. I'm like, am I sweating as much as I feel like I'm sweating? I'm like, I am. And then Abby's
You are.
like, yeah, you're doing great. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're not even like breathing hard.
Well, it never gets easy.
We don't want it
I'm
to
hoping
be.
his shoulder stays bad so he doesn't jump in next
No,
to him on
we
the
don't.
side.
He made me look bad today with this not even 12 weeks out shoulder surgery, and I had to keep saying like, "Are you cleared for that? Are you cleared for that?" Basically,
matter. Yeah, it
I'm
doesn't
like,
matter.
okay, sure, whatever.
I was going to say something. Oh, and we touched on it before we got on air here, but we've lifted all the different kinds of ways. I lifted like an athlete when I was an athlete, and then I lifted bodybuilder type ways. And now it's like, as far as my own personal fitness, I like classes. It's motivating for me to see our membership. Like you said, we do the type of workouts I want to do are what we do in classes. And I think that makes us a little bit different than our programming isn't the same every day. We change it up all the time. And
And we're not restricted by like a corporate,
yeah.
or a franchise. And so if we see something or want to try something in 515, we might say, which is our first class of the day,
We're the guinea pigs.
Honestly, you guys are the guinea pigs because sometimes I'll think of something in my sleep is when I always think of a different style of workout. And I tell them, I'm like, hey, we're going to try this today. Halfway through, sometimes I'm like, I'm really sorry, this sucked bad.
Well-
We're not going to do it again. But
Just like this
and
morning.
we change it. But that's how we find the styles that we
I was like,
we
oh yeah,
like.
this is a 35-minute cap, and it was getting close to 35, and people were not.
Oh,
It wasn't even close. I'm like, we're gonna do
I
a
was
bonus. We're gonna do a bonus 5 minutes. at the end of
So
this
he goes
thing.
35-minute cap, and he goes, you know what? This is going to be difficult to get through in 35 minutes. We're like halfway through. I'm like,
not even
Not
close.
not even going
close.
to be remotely close. And then at 35 minutes, he goes, I'm going to give you a bonus 5 minutes to keep
Hey,
working
let's
on it.
go.
I'm like,
Bonus.
No, everyone stuck
Guess what?
around too.
5 minutes, still not even close.
Well, we work out at noon, so sometimes I think of the thing, and then we do it at noon, and then I text our whole gym group chat. I'm like, I'm really sorry about that. I just finally did the workout's terrible. Like,
I see why you're struggling
yeah, I
so much.
see why. I feel I should say sorry.
Well,
yeah.
and it makes sense because most of the time I've walked in, I've looked at that board, I'm like, today's kind of an easy day. I'm like looking at it, I'm like processing it in my head. I'm like, that doesn't seem that bad.
Those are the dangerous days.
Yeah,
I know those
Yeah.
those are the days that like this morning Aaron's like, yeah, it's like he goes, this is gonna be difficult. I'm looking at it, I'm like, dude, there's 4 things on the board.
Yeah.
I'm like, it literally says 175, 50, 25. I'm like, easiest day we've been here. I'm looking at Dre, I'm like, you got this. And literally by the end of the first set, I'm like, fuck. I was like, this is
Same.
not the easy day.
We have made
Yeah.
a mistake. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was bent over, and someone was like, "You all right?" I was like, "I'm not all right. This
Yeah.
is not okay."
No.
I was going to say something too. Is if we're talking about all of A2 and different training styles, that is something that I learned over COVID too. When the other trainers came to the gym and they were performance guys, and I mean when I played college athletics, it is so much more detailed and sports specific now, and I had no clue. The guys were bringing in kids, and they started training. I'm like, what are they doing? Like, what the hell is going on over there? People are paying for this. And then I saw the difference it was making. I know nothing about it, and I'm just a weight loss trainer pretty much. And these guys, how detailed they were with whatever sport they were playing and the things they were doing, and that was another reason for merging is they needed more space, and Abby had the space at her gym. I did not want to lose those guys because I think they're the best at what they do, and I just want to touch on that as far as what A2 is, because it's not just our group classes. We do one-on-one stuff, weight loss stuff. We have our own clients, but there's a whole nother side of A2 that the young guys are not out there enough. They need to be out there because they are good at what they do. And they've had some of the best athletes in Kansas City in there. And
that's why we like to say we're a one-stop shop. So A2 side is a group membership for group classes or a monthly membership. But then we offer really any type of training outside of that, one-on-one, small group, partner, husband and wife, mom and daughter. And then the guys in the back, they do sports performance with anybody littles, like 7 or 8, all the way up to, we've had several professional athletes step into our side of the gym. We have a physical therapist and a stretch therapist, and we all really just like what each other does. Like last week, I just jumped in with one of Nick's clients, who's our head sports performance guy. And I was like, you know what? I really like this. This would go really cool and pair really well with like my small group people in a lift. And I did it today, and they're like, dang, that made me feel athletic again. And just the different styles of all of us, we like to play on that.
And I think that's pretty unique to have that all under one roof, to be able to integrate those things to those group classes.
right.
That it's trickling down from a athletic, training level. And the evolution of athletic training came a crazy long ways.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You look at it now and I don't feel like I'm that old. And being in high school, like with my training there, like it used to be just the same thing every single week over and over and over. You were crazy explosive, like in the weight room, and then you went out to agility training, explosive in the weight room, agility training. It was just over and over and
Right.
over and over.
And it's still a little bit like that. But you have to understand you're dealing with whatever public high schools whose coaches are also teaching weights, and there's 100 kids in the weight room, and there's
Let's
one or
max
two
out hang
guys.
clean. Let's max
Yeah,
out
most of
squat.
them don't care.
Right.
No.
Well, we have, and that's nothing. That is not a diss on coaches or
No, I'm talking the kids.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you get a couple guys in there that actually care. Most of them are just taking the class.
or
Yeah.
just loading up weight and maxing out every day in horrible form and hurting themselves. And I'm not a sports performance trainer, but I know how to teach someone how to lift weights, and I know how to teach form. And I've had several kids before I had Elevate U in the gym, which is the performance side of it, who would come, and I'd ask them, all right, what are your PRs or maxes? And they would tell me, and then I'd have them perform one lift. And I said, that's not, we're
Yeah.
going to back off quite a bit here, and we need to be getting.
Their kids stretch
Just-
they come in early, they know everything to do, and they stretch for like 10 to 15 minutes beforehand. And now all the sports performance guys take our classes too, and they come in, they start stretching. We're like, okay, like what's with the stretching thing? We have lifted our whole lives not doing that. Well, then they lead our class in a stretch. I'm like, damn,
Yeah, for
I had
a
a
warm-up,
really
it was
good
just
lift.
put on some weight,
Yeah.
lift it, put on some heavy weight, and
Yeah.
now let's get into our workout. That was warming up for me a lot
Yeah,
of times.
I'm like,
And
stretching
why
is
my body
so
sucks right now,
boring, I
So
don't want to do it.
Warming
yeah.
up's the bar, right?
Yeah.
warming up,
Yeah.
put on a plate. All right, load it up now. Let's get to the workout.
This morning we got there and Aaron's like, let's stretch. And I was like,
Yep.
and then we do the first thing. I was like, oh, I feel that. I'm like, no, my back. What? I
Yeah.
was like, what muscle is that even that I'm feeling? Like,
we
but-
we do that quite a bit, and some of the other trainers hop in there and they'll stretch us too. So we try to remember to warm up our clients properly now, and it really has helped having them and learning some things they
Yeah.
do too.
5:15, I get caught up in just heating up my coffee and yeah.
Drinking my coffee,
Yeah.
I make sure I walk around with coffee every day and
Yeah.
Yeah.
yell at you guys a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I will say Aaron's much more hoorahing around than Abby is.
Oh my
He's going
gosh.
around. He's like, dude, you're doing great. I was like, thanks. Somebody thinks so. I'm like, Abby just walks around. She's like,
People say that. No, I'm there for morale. Like I sit next to the client. I talk about their weekend.
yeah.
It's important.
Yeah.
Aaron didn't ask me about my weekend, but by the time I was done, I was like, I feel like Aaron feels like I did a good
You
job.
did a great job, brother. Great job.
He's known at the gym. They call him dad. They call me mom. And they say, if dad's there, we got to get on it. If mom's
Yeah.
there, we can slack off a little bit because he likes to throw out a big, let's go, at least 10 times during the workout.
Oh, for sure. I love it.
Yeah.
I think you should put it out there
It's
more.
going I'll
Can't
make sure,
put
I'll
out
make sure
enough
that
of the- yeah.
I can't wait till tomorrow.
I'm going to
Yeah.
start doing that tomorrow. Tomorrow's the day.
So
Dane.
it's happening. So most of the time when we start the podcast, we always kind of start the story in the beginning. But we've been talking about A2 the whole time since we've been here. So I'm going to back it up a little bit.
Mhm.
I want to see where your guys' like fitness journey started. Like what got you into fitness? Like where was that first thing that you said, hey, you know what, this is something for me.
Go
You
ahead.
should post this over the screen. Can you do that?
Oh,
Like post something over the screen or whatever. So
Probably,
he has his original. I mean, he was a lineman in
Yeah.
college, but you should post his before and his after
No.
photo with this when you start talking about it.
I
Yes.
don't. My after
make
photo
sure you guys
is
send it to me. Kay didn't get it posted.
I'll send
right.
it to
my after photo is not what I look like now, but I was a 290-pound defensive tackle in college. I
Is that at
graduated.
Northwest?
That was Northwest. Yep.
I also went to Northwest.
Yep.
Once
That's
a
right.
Bearcat, always a
That's
Bearcat.
right.
All the time.
Yeah, we've had several Bearcats in,
Mm-hmm.
but I graduated. I got a teaching job in Liberty. I still looked like a lineman when I was teaching. I was teaching first graders too, right over here at Shoal Creek. And my second year, they hung this picture on the front of the school, of the faculty picture, and I was one of 3 guys in the school. And I am in the back row in the center with all these little teachers around me, and I was like, "Can we cuss on this?"
Oh yeah.
I was
100%.
like, "Fucking, no one told me I look like that."
a picture will always go a long ways. With
Yeah.
something.
And I went on. I didn't know anything about nutrition back then. I ate like a poor college student, even a poor teacher at that time, and I got on Slim Fast, and I lost like 50 pounds. I
P90X.
found that was later.
Dude,
So
P90X
then
was legit.
It was legit. So I lost a bunch of weight there, and then life happens and goes on, and I had a couple kids, and I just really got into being the dad bod or whatever, and I was going through some tough times anyway, and I decided didn't have a gym membership even at that point because I had some kids, and so I got on I did P90X in my basement at the time, and I got in pretty good shape, and then I got a gym membership, and I started working out early in the morning, and felt good. I was lighter than I'd been in my adult life, and went through some difficult adult things, and decided that I wanted to take it to the fitness thing to the next level. So I competed for a couple years, and I started training then, and just kind of took off from there. But
Competed in bodybuilding?
I competed in some fitness shows. It was the WBFF at the time. I'm not even sure it's an organization anymore, but it was more of like a fitness than a big bodybuilding. I was pretty lean and did some shows, and there was like a fashion aspect to it or whatever. And I competed in Kansas City, and I competed in Vegas once, and LA once, and
I can
and then
send you
after
those
that-
photos too.
after that it was the guys are a lot young. We're getting a lot younger and a lot bigger, and I wasn't gonna get any bigger. That was it, and I was getting pretty old in the game, and I got kind of into it at a later time too, and that's really just kind of where it happened for me as far as into fitness. And then I got into training. I love that. I enjoy that. I'm a people person. I like being around people and that part of, there's a lot of trainers out there, but in a lot of awkward sessions out there sometimes too, if someone doesn't know how to speak to people or talk to people. And I've seen that a ton of times too. And I think that's what I'm best at. There's probably 1,000 trainers that are better than me, but the relationship you form training people and your one-on-one clients. I don't really take any new clients now. They have all been with me since I started. So, I mean, that's
Which not a lot of trainers can say that they still have clients from 10 years ago.
Yeah.
you know?
Which, when you talk about the relationship side, I think that's so big with clients that I'm not going to name any gyms around, but there's gyms around that have trainers there that you watch their training sessions and it looks awkward. Like you're watching from the outside and you're just like, I don't want to be either one of those people. And then there's also trainers out there that do not look like they should be trainers. Like, and saying it in the nicest way possible, like, it was one of those things that, like, when I came in and I watched you two running a class, I'm like, looking, you guys are both in great shape. It's like, they're trainers.
I don't think you have to say that in the nicest way possible.
I
I think it's a joke that people can be that out of shape and be a personal trainer.
And you see it so often now,
It's
honestly.
getting out of control in our world today that there's, like, people that I see training, like, lots of people. And I'm like, dude, the person you're training is in better shape than you.
I mean, that's
Like-
kind of universal for like a lot of professions now. So Aaron Krantz, who's our in-house physical therapist, I saw him as a physical therapist at his old location before, and I'm like, man, I've seen several physical therapists for this issue, and they have not done a single thing that is getting back into the gym, which is what I want to do, and they don't look like they would know what to do if they did. And he said in school, they're not taught the fitness side of things. They have to go out and learn that on their own, which I think is shitty. Like our physical therapists, if they're not seeking that out and they're working with athletes or they're working with people who want to get back into the gym or moving their body properly and they can't move their own body properly, it's crazy to me.
Aaron's jacked though.
Aaron's pretty jacked.
Aaron looks like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
He
he
does.
does. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's just I feel like people are getting so hypocritical in today's world, and I mean on forefronts all over the place, that it's in the marketing space, we see it all the time. I mean, the fitness space, you see it all the time. You see it now. There's people out giving people financial advice that they've never done shit in their life with finances.
Right.
And it's like, if you can't walk the walk, don't talk the talk. Like, and it's, I don't know, I think the fitness space is definitely it's the easiest space to see it. There's no hiding it.
No.
Yeah.
It's also one of the easiest spaces to get into, and that's why sometimes it feels so saturated. Like everybody's an online trainer, everybody's doing this because it's so easy. You have to do nothing in person. You have to prove nothing. That you don't have to know anything about the actual movements. You just have to know what the book says. I mean, everything's online, so really anybody could be a trainer, and that's
there's
what a lot of our clients.
1,000 different certifications out there.
Yeah,
too.
and they
Oh, yeah.
come in
Yeah.
thinking like, oh, I saw so-and-so do this online, so I'm doing this because they said it, and they look like this. I'm like, fuck, they don't do that. And that's not why they look like that.
They're
And
they're just doing it so they stand out, so that people are like,
Right.
oh, that's
Yes.
different. I should try that.
yeah.
The funniest thing was when the Liver King like started blowing up,
Right.
and like he was blowing up everywhere, and everyone was like, that dude's on roids. And anybody that's ever been in the fitness space, like, definitely. And then all of a sudden it comes out one day, they're like, found out Liver King's on roids. And then like all these
Meltdown.
people, everyone was in a
Meltdown.
meltdown. Like, I thought it was from eating raw liver. I'm like, what? So, like, there's people out there to believe that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can
But it's like,
melt
People
down.
will, and that's what is shitty to know on our side of it is like we're there for a reason, but people get themselves into a spot health-wise where they feel so desperate that they will believe really anything anyone says, and for people to be selling that bullshit online and they come, and then to find out like, oh my god, my life is crushed because I found that out, like
Oh my God, I thought I've been eating raw liver for a year. I'm not jacked like him. Like, what happened?
where
feed
we're
my-
like,
feed my
God, that's
kids,
so
right?
stupid.
Oh my God.
But they will believe anything because they are in a desperate place, which is shitty to prey on that. And that's why we like to get people into our space that haven't done anything before. And we say that we are for everybody. People think it's intimidating, but if we would have been smart enough to take a progress picture of everyone when they first day they walked in, a lot of people zero knowledge and overweight and just unhealthy. Like people will come in because their doctor said they just needed to do something, and now they can explain things with the right cues and which is so cool to see. Like they're really into fitness now and they've actually learned something.
We have some clientele who just like to come to classes because they like to live the lifestyle they live and feel good that they're just active too. I mean, you always have those people too, and that's great too. I've always said we're the least intimidating gym. I would put it out there that we're the least intimidating gym out there.
100%.
You might come in and there's a lot of people you'll feel uncomfortable, but as far as like the community and the membership welcoming you in, I've never been a part of anything like it. Like
I will say when I first came in, and I'm even somebody who works out all the time, but it was a style of working out that I was a little intimidated to get back into. But what I really like about it is you get to work at your own pace.
Oh yeah.
To where it's not like you're at some like crazy pace that somebody over here could be trained to be, they could probably walk right back into be a college athlete again.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't mean you have to go at the same pace. That
No.
Right.
And
And that's what he's like, the least intimidating gym, but not because we don't have fit clients there. It's just the style
comfortable
and
place.
and
Yeah.
the comfortability that they
And I think it
they
works
give
in
off.
that. I think that's where a lot of group classes miss is running and operating with that cohesion of both styles of people in one. Most of the time you have a class that's fully catered to the person that doesn't know how to work out, that has a very low level of gym knowledge, and they're going to be sitting there and like, hey, like I don't know how to do any of this stuff, and it's taking me a really long time, and I'm really out of shape. And you have the person next to it like, this is way too easy for me.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're both feeling really frustrated.
Yeah. So then, but then it can be the opposite way too, that you can have the person that's like in great shape, that they're like, this is dialed in with what I want to do, and this person over here is like, this is absolutely the worst thing I've ever done in my
Yeah,
entire
like I'm
life.
for sure
And,
not
like,
coming back tomorrow.
I'm not gonna be
Yeah.
back tomorrow.
I'm about to die.
But it's like
Like-
you see both of those people having a great 45-minute workout side by side. That it's like it just works.
Yeah.
Which that's what I was very impressed with that. And also you talk about having that like people living the lifestyle.
Right.
I want to be active every day. I want to do that. I'm going to say I'm very much that. I've been that person for quite a while. I didn't have my diet dialed in, like a lot of those things. I've been in the gym. I've been actively doing those things. And what I liked is we went over food, we went over diet, what needs to happen. But then also, right before the podcast, we're sitting there, I'm like, I should have a drink. And Madison's like, no, blah, blah, blah. Abby's like, do it. They're like, so it's,
I said it was approved.
Yeah.
I was like, hopefully none of our clients are watching this podcast. Or listening.
I know. I was like, this is supposed to be our
because we are
welcome baby, but
here
we are.
on it in
Yeah.
January.
Yeah, we're
so.
on it.
but what
Tomorrow.
people still have lives outside of fitness.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's where it's like,
100%.
there's so many people that get into fitness and they drop 200% into fitness, and they may lose aspect of their relationship with their significant other. They may start slacking in work because fitness is more important than work. It's like, I think I hate the term like work-life balance. I do not use that, but there is still a way to find some sort of balance between your relationship, work, fitness, taking care of yourself, all those things, and have them all work together.
Right.
And that's what I think is important is I'm going to diet, but I'm going to diet 90-95% of the time.
Yeah, you don't want to say no to things that are important
Yeah.
to you that you're gonna make memories doing because of fitness. Like,
I will fully admit there's a couple of years in my life where fitness was it. And I'm not saying that was it because it's all I enjoyed, but I went through a difficult time and I was never miss a day, never take a day off. I ate the same thing every day. I didn't drink. I didn't do anything. But when I did have time, I went to the gym every day, all day. And there is an unhealthy aspect to that too. So we are definitely not like that. You've seen that in our gym. If it's a holiday or something, we're going to work out and we're going to celebrate after the workout. If it's New Year's Eve or New Year's Day or Christmas
Dane
Eve
came in and
or
he
a
was like,
random Saturday when we want to have
Yeah,
when we
just
feel like we
whatever.
want to have a social time, we'll keep the people who want to stay after and just have a social hour or something. We definitely do those things. We do a lot of things throughout the year where it brings our community together outside the gym, where it's not just sweat on each other and then leave. We do quite a bit of things and we like to do that, and our people like that too. So
I think that's people being real people.
yeah.
right.
Like it's a unicorn. Like Ricky's gonna be the unicorn that's never drank here, but Ricky doesn't drink. Like, and Ricky was like one of those people that when I first met Ricky, like people talk about doing 75 hard. I am not like, I think 75 hard is great. I haven't really dealt with like real discipline problems in my life. Like I've always been somebody that like when I want something really bad, I'll get it. And it's like I know how to discipline my life around getting it. But like we talked about 75 hard when like I met Ricky and he's like he pretty much just has to walk outside and he's doing 75 hard.
Used to be that way. Not so much anymore.
But he's like he's dieting all the time. He's in the gym. He reads every day. He does like all these things, which I've implemented like certain habits that like I read every day now. I'm in the gym every day. Like my biggest factor of probably all of 75 hard would be diet. Like that
I think
is
that's for most people.
Yeah.
I mean,
which
it's really
most
difficult.
people like find comfort in food, and it's like something like I've always enjoyed nice dinners. I've always enjoyed the company of people that I have dinner with. That if it's just Mass and I eating, it's really easy to eat really healthy. But also, if we have friends that are like, "Hey, we want to go out to have dinner out somewhere," like I'm not gonna be like, "Nope, I'm on a diet."
Yeah.
I mean, the same thing,
It's
and
a-
that happens throughout life too. I have kids, and they play all the sports, and I mean, I think Abby noticed that too when she met me. I was on the go constantly, running kid, working or working at the fire department, coming back and training, then running kids all night, and then coming back. It's just a go lifestyle. It's really easy to stop and get something for the kids and finish all their food plus whatever you got. I mean,
Yeah, I feel like we're realistic trainers in that way. Like, honestly, I used to tell my clients, oh, you can make the time. You can make the time. Then I had a kid, and I'm like, oh, fuck, you cannot. You can't make the time, especially if you're a single parent. Or then I met Aaron, and he has 2 kids, and he's running everywhere until late hours where there's physically no time. Like, you couldn't have even got up in time to do these things. And that's why what we offer and like when we do meal plans for people, we take that into account, and
I
we
will
understand
say
life.
on the time thing, I kind of disagree with that a little bit because I don't have kids, but I have always been someone that I used to be that person. Mm-hmm. I worked a lot of hours in a job, and even though it wasn't kids, I worked more hours than most people will ever work in a week. And I was like, I don't have time for the gym.
Yeah.
That realistically, when I look back at it, I just didn't prioritize it correctly.
Right.
That I still had time every year at the end of a year, I could tell you new Netflix shows that were out that I watched and things like that. I just didn't prioritize my life correctly, which it was a come to Jesus moment with me and the man in the mirror to say, how do you want your life to look? And it's like, so I think it's the same thing that I run into people all the time that are like, well, I don't have time to read.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude. But then in that same conversation, 10 minutes later, they're going to be telling you about the newest Netflix show that came out 3 weeks
True.
ago, and they watched the whole entire series already. So I'm like, I call bullshit. You do have time to read. You just prioritize Netflix, or you prioritize sleeping or something more than you didn't want it bad enough.
I was talking mostly on the eating on the go.
Eating
type.
is-
That would be that's what I was saying. I've always made the gym and done those things, but eating wise, like having something readily available to eat all the time when you're going from place to place, or weekend tournaments. And I've eaten all the cold meals before, prepped all that stuff. But I'm just saying, like that gets to be a little bit difficult. Sitting down or making a meal and having a meal, especially when you have a family, and that there's an important aspect of that too.
Kids probably ain't want the chicken and rice like that.
Well, yeah, I mean that my kids have eaten that shit plenty, but
True.
but they're I'm just saying, we know people are busy and they have multiple kids and wives and jobs and so the nutrition part is always the part that's going to be the most difficult for people, and most of the people really we have to stop ourselves from getting into challenges all the time, because then you're just running challenges all week, all year long. But people want that. They want to be challenged. Otherwise, it's just that much more motivation for them. I'm like, are we doing another challenge? Like, shit, we just did one. But I mean, they constantly ask for them, and I think it helps people keep on track. If they're not, then it's really easy to drive through on your way to your next game. Or are you
Give me
okay?
that water.
Are you okay? Are you gonna die right here on air?
I'm so sorry, just coughing right into your microphone.
No, but like on the challenge thing, like I just implemented one within our office.
Yeah.
a week ago, and it's crazy how it pulled people that weren't even interested in working out or dieting, that they're sending in body scans and like to our group chat and everything that they want involved now.
Yeah.
But it's like we have a culture of people that want to compete, and competitors want to compete.
I'm literally dying. I'm so sorry.
Step away.
Did you catch the cough that everyone has?
And like, can you step out of the microphone?
Can you? Trying to have a conversation here.
We can also just cut this out.
Yeah, totally fine.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. Uh-oh.
Oh, it's contagion on it.
That was fast.
That was really
my
fast.
Iron caught whatever it is.
It's happening.
All right, let's talk about the evolution of Abby coming up. Where does it all start?
Just a little tyke. I was, I really have always been interested in, I've never done a job ever that has not been somewhat health, fitness, sports related.
That's a sales pitch right there.
Honestly, I
Laundry
haven't.
list them. What do you got?
So my first job was Parks and Rec, and I did that all through high school. So umpired, refereed, everything. In college, I worked at our campus rec center freshman through senior year. Loved it, and that's actually why I picked my major, which most of my classes were in our rec center for exercise science. It was like our science building, biomechanics, things like that. And we had a really good program, so I became even further interested in that. I did physical education for a few years, and I coached along with that. When I came back to Kansas City,
What were you coaching?
well, I played tennis when I was growing up, so I coached men's and women's tennis in Papillion in Nebraska. So that's what I coached there. But I really dove into like their strength program because they're kind of like a Liberty, if you will. They have the resources and they really bought into like, oh, there's new information and we're up for trying some stuff. And so I got to work with their weightlifting program. And that's kind of what I really enjoyed. The next 2 years I worked with elementary kiddos, which I also really liked. I got married up there and I came back to Kansas City, and I wasn't sure that teaching was what I wanted to do. So I knew a physician. She was going off on her own. She was looking for a medical assistant, which is nothing that I have a background in. But she was working a lot on like athletic injuries, and she's in biologics. So if you're familiar with like platelet-rich plasma, like you take your own blood and fat and bone marrow and you inject it into your tears. Like we did a lot of hamstring tears, some ACL, some things like that. And so I got to see that side of fitness, like after you have an injury, or we saw a lot of people with arthritis that have done sports their whole life and got to treat it. And so that was very different, but I really enjoyed it a lot. And that's when I started the gym out of my garage, because the physician that I was working for, she was super into it herself, and she's like, you have to do this. So started it. The space that we are in now came available. It was a fitness facility, and for whatever reason, she decided to close. And the landlord reached out to me, saw that I was doing this out of my garage. It had kind of picked up a little bit at the time. I was offering like class packs, drop-ins. Literally think I still have the jar somewhere where they put their money. I don't even know if I ever looked at it or checked it. But the neighborhood was starting to come, so they messaged me, and I went and looked at the spot and took it that day. So, and then told my boss, and within 2 months I had turned around the space by myself at the time and started leading group classes. I just figured out what was working in the fitness space at the time in the area. I went to probably 50 different group style classes in lots of different cities and found what I liked and kind of went with it. And then I met Aaron during COVID. I was going through a divorce that I was going to lose my gym space or my business model that I had created. So actually somebody was like, oh, this is super similar to Aaron Fit. So I found him online, messaged him, asked if I could come to a class. I did. I was like, oh, this is cool. Can I come back next week and bring a bunch of people? So I did.
I was like, what the fuck
I
is
know.
going on here? She has her own space. You're like, what is it?
He's like,
this?
what is she trying to?
Yeah.
What is she trying to do here?
Bringing 10 clients over to my space so they can take a class. I'm like, this is some
And
shit right here.
So I did. I brought a bunch of people in. He had like a Friday happy hour class, and we made it a thing. And so I brought my clients. We worked out, and then we went to actual happy hour, and we did that for a couple weeks. And then I told him my situation.
I mean,
And-
you're saying you had a Friday class and you went to happy hour afterwards?
We used to
We
just
did.
provide.
What?
We used to just provide drinks.
Yeah.
After happy hour class at the gym, and then we went out we went with some clients to happy hour after class. Too.
Yeah, for a long time
Yeah.
too. And
I mean,
it
it's
was,
a Friday
it was fun.
afternoon. Who's going to show up for a class? We just need to get people there. Like, so
Yeah.
have some seltzers
We
and some
offer
beers
drinks.
or whatever, and have a drink.
Yeah. So we did that for a while, and then it kind of became a thing. I trained classes at his gym. He trained classes at mine. We did a lot of stuff together in the community, which is both what our clients and us like to do and support. So, and then we merged. It was easier on both of us. So,
Yeah.
Game over at that point.
yeah.
It really was nice schedule wise. She had a newborn, and I'm a firefighter, so I work 24-hour shifts. So at the time I opened Aaron and Fit, I'd have to pay somebody to come in early for me so I could get to my 5:30 class because I work a 7 to 7 shift, and then pay someone to stay. And it was a rat race. But when you are a small business owner, you have to run it, you know?
And I was begging my parents to come over at 4:40 in the morning
Yeah.
to watch my newborn sleep, basically, so I could go to the gym every day at 5:15.
Yeah.
So-
Just helping each other out schedule wise was huge for us, and worked out.
A2 was born.
There you go. Bam.
Yeah.
Just like
Done.
that.
Yep.
The evolution of A2.
Yeah.
Heard it
It's
here
now-
first.
Yeah, and I think it really is cool watching small business owners grow something that we're on that forefront. It's something that we work with a lot of small business owners, and it's hard to figure out. And I think a lot of times people see the pretty videos out on Instagram. They see all the wins. They see all that stuff. They don't see the grind that goes into it at 4 o'clock in the morning after morning, going into the fire department for 24 hours at a time, doing all these different things. And it's like, I think that is a big thing that the public needs to know more about. That the other day I was talking with Abby, we were sitting up front, and it's like afterwards, it was the day that everyone was drinking mimosas.
Only if you remember.
Yeah. But sitting up front having mimosas, I'm like, this is cool. I'm like, and I was like, my only really like comment I have to this whole thing is I think it's too cheap. I was like, you offer so much to people to be a part of something like this, to have the community side, to have, dieting help, to have all these different things. I was like, that is literally like my only comment.
We've had these conversations
Yeah,
before.
we've kicked it around before, but I was giving people $45 memberships when I first started for a month of unlimited classes, same times that we're offering now. So 4 to 5 a day that I was teaching myself. And then, as I grew it. And then when we merged, we just decided that this was our number. But
We know where our number is compared to other gyms. We like that too for our members. We know the demographic our membership is, and
we know that clients text us at 10 p.m. or on Christmas and they need something, and we respond. And that's why our retention is like near 100%. Like our clients just,
But it's like, I look at that as that's not the norm.
yeah.
right.
And like that is
We don't
some-
want to be the norm though.
and it's like
Exactly,
you're
yeah.
not the norm. And like I look at it as if I took the closest 50 group class training places around, and I took the average pricing, it's most likely above your guys's.
True.
We know that 100%.
And then it's like, and then they're not even offering a service even close to your guys's.
we hope not.
Yeah.
We need to change if we're not
and-
offering enough.
Right.
But it's
we
like-
want to be there.
And like, we talked about it this morning, like it's just the environment that's different that I've been trying to wrap my head around it marketing wise, how to get more people to know what it's like within those walls in 45 minutes for everyone, because it is
Right.
when we spoke at the first of the podcast, that it's just all these different walks of life that is so. One time I came in and we videoed, and I wasn't even video. Everyone else was. I was there. But coming in, I'm like, this is cool. And then that starts like multiplying so quickly that I go in the office, I'm talking about it, and it's like, then my brother's coming, then his fiance's coming, then today I'm talking about, we have another guy coming, then another guy's like, well, that'd be a 15-minute drive for me in the morning, but if I'm going at 5:15, I still got plenty of time to drive back, and I can be at the office. And it's just like a multiplier so quickly but that's what premium service does.
And I feel like that's how we get the culture that we have. People always ask, like, oh, how do you have so many members that just get it together? Well, we just continue to provide what we want. It's something where you don't really get it until you come in the first time. It is really hard to explain, and we've had people, different businesses around the area say like, oh, it will promote you if you promote us. I'm like, no, we've said no every single time. Like, I don't want you to promote us if you don't believe in what we're doing. Like, that's why we have the clientele in here. Like, if you're a firm believer, if you're coming to the gym and you understand why we are doing what we're doing, that's when I want you to tell a friend. I don't want you to tell a friend because I'm going to tell a friend about your business. Like, that's not how
Unless it's a
I feel
coffee
it.
shop.
Unless it's a coffee shop, and then we all understand that we need that to live. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, we're really firm in what we believe in, and we've really never strayed from that.
Yeah. I think that was when we merged, and I was really nervous. I kind of was in the center. I was at Berry Road, North Oak, so kind of the center of the Northland, and I had quite a few people kind of from what I call the Park Hill side or the Parkville side.
Even
and I was
the back
worried,
of Thousand Oaks.
Yeah, I was worried about clients driving across the Northland to the gym, but I mean, there's been very little people that haven't followed us over there because of what we do, I think. So,
Well, I think in the last few classes, like I've been meeting new people and I've been asking them like where they'll normally ask me, they're like, where you live? I'm like, oh, I'm like right over here. It's like 5-minute drive. They're like, oh, I live like way over here. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's a hell of a
Yeah,
drive.
they do-
Like,
they
what
do
time did
drive,
you leave
yeah.
this morning?
we have
And it's not like they haven't tried other places, and it's not to say that other places aren't the perfect place for someone else. It's just they thought what we did was different, and they're willing to make that drive.
Do you know what the farthest drive is?
The back of Thousand Oaks.
So how far is
Well,
that roughly?
Use 35
Oh,
with
wow.
no traffic.
Yeah,
35 like for the 5:15
that's a
class.
commitment.
I will say,
That's good.
driving in the morning, no one's really on the road when you're
True.
trucking over there about 5 o'clock.
no, that's
Yeah.
very true. Yeah,
It used to be Abby and Kevin would drive from
Overland Park or something, Leewood.
Leewood every day.
Yeah,
Wow.
They
I know.
actually moved up here, but they used to drive every day.
Yeah.
For A2 Fitness, right?
Yep, that's right.
They're like, clearly we got to move up north.
Yeah,
You got to be
Actually,
close to the gym.
That's right.
Yeah, they are ones, and they should be featured in some way. They've supported me forever, but I went to high school with them, and they were ones that have never been to the gym before, literally ever. And they're like, they have come every single day.
yeah, they're there all the time.
Well, yeah, and they still to this day are like, it's the only place I feel comfortable doing fitness.
That's pretty cool to have.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys see the evolution and the future of A2 Fitness looking like?
Geez.
That's a loaded question.
Everywhere.
Being
just
able to retire.
popping up right. I don't know. We talk about it all the time. You know, I
Yeah.
mean,
We love our space. Of course, we would love to have something bigger, and we're really close to that. It's just like when it's the right move for all of us as a
Right.
crew, because if we lose one of us, that's not worth it to us, because even though we're all our own entity, there's 4 different businesses within our business, but really we're all one. And so as long as we can all make the move together, that's what we would do.
yeah, I think a bigger space would be the next move, making a move. A lot of it is we both believe in everything so much. We have a great business. We have a huge clientele. I think the guys in the back Elevate You, they could benefit even that much more, taking the next step for a bigger space too. Just handling more athletes and handling more kids at one time and doing a little bit more group stuff. And just for us too. I mean, just for the New Year's situation, we'd like to have 40 people in a class, every class, or 50 or whatever. I'm not sure what the biggest class we've ever had. Probably 50.
It was New Year's Day.
For you, for sure. It was New Year's Day.
It was not great.
But
It's not my greatest moment.
that's all right. there probably weren't a lot of places offering one for New Year's Day, so we feel good about that.
Yeah. We did ask them what they wanted for Christmas, all of our guys, and every single one was like, well, we have enough here to be proficient at what we're doing. We would love to have this, and we kind of feel the same way, like we can make it work there, but what could we do?
Yeah,
we could do
what would be
so
the
much
next
more
move?
with this, or what,
Twice
So.
the space would be nice. But
I mean, we'll let you know.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's, I think you guys are taking the forward steps to get there. And we talk about it all the time where we run into business owners that they have these grand plans, but they have, they're taking no steps to get there, to where it's like, I've sat down with people like, yeah, I want this, I want bigger space, we want this to happen. And I'm like, oh, great. What are you like actively doing to do that? Well, I've been doing the same shit for 3 years.
Right.
I'm like, you're in the same spot you were 3 years ago. And all you've really done is drop 9% each year. And if you just want a factor for inflation, I was like, you're just losing 9% each year. I was like, so you're not really elevating at all.
Yeah.
And then you look at business owners that are hungry, that are growth mind oriented, that are like, what does it take to take a step forward every single day that we come to work? What does it take to take a step forward to put more members in here? That I think you were telling me that it was just like, 3 months ago when you knocked the wall out?
Yeah. We knocked
Yeah.
the
3 or
wall
4
out.
months
Yep.
ago.
We needed to.
But it was like, yeah, that used to be a doorway. And I'm like, I can't even imagine that being a door. That'd be a clusterfuck.
It
in
was
here.
It was a cluster. It was like New Year's Day, but every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it was
mean,
like, you're looking at that and I'm like, that only like makes sense. Like that makes it way more like, I'm like, I can't imagine just everyone in here.
I
But-
also have a hard time letting go of some stuff. Like it needed to be done, but I was going to do it. So
Yeah.
I just had to have the time to do it. Well, like you said, I was having surgery, which I had surgery 10 weeks ago. Well, the time was to do it now because I sure as hell wasn't getting it done. So I just made the time and got it done. But sometimes we have a hard time of letting go, like letting someone else do something for us.
I
We're very-
don't have a hard time of letting someone do
The
those type of
someone is me though all
tasks.
the time. That's the deal. Like
She's like,
People-
Aaron can do
She-
this.
yeah,
People say
exactly.
something's broken. I'm like, ooh, that seems like a dad thing. I'm going to write a note,
Yeah.
and when he comes in,
Yeah.
he will fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's very much easy, just like, yeah, Aaron, that's
Yeah.
him.
We definitely have our own areas where we like very are in our lane. That's what we handle, and then that's what they handle.
I think
So-
that's a great thing on relationships. I don't think a lot of people like outline that. I mean, in personal life and business and everything, like you have to have your lanes. Like I have my lanes in business side that I have my strengths. There's things that my strengths are not in, that I have people that surround me that are way better at things than I am. And I'm 100% okay with that. And it's in my personal life, there's places I have strengths, that there's things that I don't have strengths in. That if I'm at work and Madison's at home and she's telling me she's hanging a picture, I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to come home. It's going to be crooked. Bad. Like, I'll just do that when I get home. So it's just like having those,
At
having
least
that
she
relationship.
tries. I'm like, you know what?
No, she doesn't. She doesn't try.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I would like to hang a picture. Aaron, can you hang this picture?
No,
for
we've
me?
got that handled where I just do those things. So, but towards the end of each podcast, I think you guys have both made crazy strides in the fitness space, and I think you guys are both at a space that the only direction that you have is up, and you guys are building something with the right foundation. If you could go back to your 21-year-old self, what would be one word of advice that you would give yourself?
Some of us have to go back further than others.
Yeah, I can't even remember that. Listen, brother, I'm 21 twice over already, plus some. So I don't have really one word.
Is that what you said?
It doesn't have to be
word?
one word, just like one word of advice. So just something you would tell yourself.
Not to get into education.
Oh, jeez.
I'm just
We
kidding.
need good teachers.
No, that's true. Abby knows. Abby
His
knows.
daughter's in college and she wanted to go into education. He's like, absolutely not.
All I ever wanted to be was a teacher growing up. I love kids, and I didn't, not woe was me story, but I didn't grow up with any money, so it was never really important to me. And I knew teachers didn't make shit at the time. And then I got out in the real world, I'm like, oh, it would be nice if I had some money, you know?
Yeah, like just even a little.
So then I became a firefighter, which was a complete lateral move, but at least I had some time to do some other stuff on the side. But I say that jokingly. I am the biggest advocate of teachers and educators, and you know that too. No, I said that jokingly, but
I definitely think that the education space is way underpaid.
oh my God, yes.
And what
it's-
it is, that it's
That's a whole nother podcast we could get
that
into.
could be a whole podcast in its own.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that I feel that people go into education go into it with a true passion for education.
Yeah.
And we 100% need those people, like no questions asked, but I definitely believe that they should be paid
I think
much more.
for me would be more of a risk taker. I think, because I grew up that way, it was just, come from very blue collar and you work all day and you go home and you do it the next day and the next day and the next day. And it took me a long time to ever open my own business or whatever. And it's been great. But I was in my early 40s when I did it finally, so, or about 40, I guess. So that would probably be for me,
Yeah.
business wise. What would
Living uncomfortable is probably, I think that's something that it takes a lot of people ever figure that out. Some people never figure it out in a lifetime. That being uncomfortable, the greatest things in life are found on an uncomfortable state.
Yeah.
That the waters you don't know is where great things are found. And I think a lot of times people just, like you said, that comfortable, like there's a lot of people I know that are hard workers.
Right.
They go in and just do the same thing day in and day out every single day, like nothing ever changes. But there could be evolution from not just the entrepreneur, but people inside of businesses too. That the evolution's there for everyone, but it's just progressing and being uncomfortable and learning new things and stepping to that next step. Abby, your 21-year-old self.
It was just a couple years ago. Shouldn't be that hard.
Just a few years ago.
Years back. I guess I would say maybe keep an open mind, which is I've talked to several classes in the last few years of like middle or high school students, because this just wasn't really known when we were in high school. But keeping an open mind, like on your path. It's like society said when I was in high school, you go to high school, you go to college, you get a job, you do this. It's like very boom, boom, boom in order. And looking back, like I kind of knew what I wanted to do, but it was those steps that society said I needed to take before I did that. And it's just like keep an open mind, always be looking at the opportunities that are presented to you at the time. I feel like I could have cut out a lot of steps, not that I would change anything about my own way that I took, but I think that's what I would tell myself back then, is there's no like one right path for your teenage self to take to get to where you want to be.
I think we have a lot in today's society about parents say this is what it looks like, this is what they feel is best for you. And we've had a lot of arguments through a lot of podcasts in the comments and stuff about what I say about college. And it has started a lot of conversations.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I didn't even know about trade school when I was in high school, which to me is shit. Like somebody should be telling us those things. Not that I would have done a trade, but it should have been known that could be an option, for you.
And it's funny that I've had a lot of people that sat at this table with college degrees, things like that. And it's funny that most of the time when I get these arguments, it comes out that it's somebody that has a college degree that hasn't been able to make any money with it, and then they're going to fight tooth and nail till they think that there's value in it. But some of the wealthiest people I've had sit at this table are wearing jeans, cowboy boots that are as a trades guy that's out doing something. That it's like, and
I mean, neither one of us are using our degree.
I'm not either. Like we have a whole company in marketing that we don't have marketing degrees. But we understand market, we understand business owners, we understand people making money, we understand people. Like that's what it takes to be great at marketing. They don't teach that in college. And so we always get kind of a torn crowd on that side. So people are always fired up about that, because it is hard when you're talking to business owners all the time. That rarely do you run into a business owner that's like, yeah, I went to college for this. I came straight out, and this is exactly what I opened. The whole entire game plan has been perfect.
Yeah.
I don't know that
I
guy.
know. I was like, I'd like to meet that guy.
I haven't met, I haven't met that person. But I think being open-minded, life is full of opportunities in front of us all day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, people are just running through life with blinders on just not to see them. So I think that's a great word of advice. So very, very much enjoyed both you guys being on. I think, like I said, A2 has nothing but the world to take on in front of it. I think you guys are killing it.
It's 2024.
We're
We're doing it. This is it.
We're going to show the world what you guys are about. The world already likes seeing what we're putting out there. So
I'm going to leave right now and sign a big lease on some big property right now.
Yeah,
We're going to
feeling
move.
good.
Yep, let's do this.
let's roll. We'll make it happen.
Appreciate you having us on.
But we'll put all of your guys' links below, Instagram, Facebook, everything like that. We'll put the link for the app if you want to download the app, get a class. What is it?
Your first week is free.
First week is free.
Just
I think
because
that's
every
too much
class
free
is-
time, but first week is free. After one class, you'll be hooked, and
That's
then you'll
it.
be figuring out how you sign up to be all the time. So once again, thank you guys for coming
Appreciate
on.
it. Thank you.
We're looking forward to the future growing with you guys. So
Uh-huh.
that's the M3 podcast. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the M3 Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Want to learn more? Check us out on Instagram at Moss Marketing Group, on Facebook at Moss Marketing 58, or on our website at mossmarketinggroup.com.